conversation on the morning crossfire. Before we go on another commercial in a very short moment, now it's the first 24 hours since the emergency rule was lifted. We saw the lawmakers resume sat yesterday. Unfortunately, many had hoped to see the governor yesterday, but that is yet to happen, forcing many to ask, where is the governor? And that's something that's been trending online now. Where is the governor? It's also very important to note that the governor has a schedule and timeline and, itinerary in how he wants to do what he wants to do. He would come when he would come. Like I said, the fact that everything was suspended or the emergency was lifted in the manner that it did, it was done without any official proper broadcast by the president. The fact that we didn't see any official proper handover from the administrator and so on and so forth at the time just gave me a hint that this might not go as smooth as you think it would be. And yesterday was a show of that. We had a lot of people who were expecting that they were going to see the governor. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. As for the lawmakers, they were all seated and doing their work as lawmakers. The question now is, what is to be expected today? Now, the news already making the rounds on social media is that, well, you would see the governor today. Some people said 8 a.m. Some people said 10 a.m. Well, whatever it may be, whether we see him today or not, the eventual truth is we would definitely get to see the governor. He is already resumed office, but then we would see him at the government house. What could be the delay? Well, I'm pretty sure the expectation for many would be as swiftly as the lawmakers have gone into work, the governor would. But who says the governor is not working? He mustn't sit down in the brick house to work. There are other things he could be doing. But then there are a few questions to ask when you take note of. Let's start with the first activities of the lawmakers. What stood out for many people, the call for new commissioners, the list of commissioners to be submitted. That's one. And I've already asked that question a million times before. Those people who were already commissioners, duly sworn in and screened by the Ameule Assembly at the time, which was legitimate, if you put the Supreme Court judgment into perspective, should those people again now come back and wait to be renominated and then screened again to be sworn in again as commissioners, or they automatically just have to resume their office because, it was a suspension? They also, during that sitting, talked about the budget. Oh, yes. They mentioned, and just to summarize, asking the governor whether he was going to present a budget or going to work with the budget that already had been passed by the National Assembly. Well, I would wonder why they would ask that, but I'm not a lawmaker and I don't know the details of how this lawmaking process works. But common sense tells me that maybe all of this is just academic exercise. As lawmakers, they have to do their job and that, because, if we're going to want to have another budget presented by the governor to the House, then what was the administrator doing? What was National Assembly doing? What was it we saw with the budgets, that the figures were going up and down? Today, give us time, and then they added and the figures went up and so on and so forth. All of those things would have been for nothing. So definitely, surely, it only pointed in one direction, which would be that the governor would work with the budget that the National Assembly had put up during the emergency rule. But again, don't be surprised, anything can happen. So those are just a few things that they did at the House yesterday. And also, of course, commending the president for a great job in trying to restore order in the state politically. And then you also look at the reconciliation that we have always said that we have now. Everybody says peace has returned, peace has returned. But it doesn't look like the people welcoming the governor, we have people, clearly there's a divide. And from the people that went to welcome the governor, the faces we saw are all of those that had worked with the governor as whether commissioners or as local government chairman at one time under him, or as acting local government caretaker chairman. Those were the people we're seeing. We didn't really see much people from the beginning. Those who always say they were the ones that worked to make sure the governor became governor and won the election. Those guys were not there. But maybe it's too early to conclude. It is possible that they got better information that the governor would not arrive yesterday, and they might be there when he would arrive officially. Are we going to see even maybe the Speaker of the Assembly, be there with the governor and so on? Like these things, not just because it is necessary or important that you must do it, but if we are saying that there's reconciliation and we no longer have any of these divisions, these are little signs that will show. These are little acts that will give sign or signal to the fact that indeed there is some sort of reconciliation. Otherwise, the feeling would be that we just have an agreement and we're not really reconciling anything. Well, only time will tell. But those are some of the things that you'd look at in the first 24 hours, and you would point out to look and say, this reconciliation, how long? What does the governor and the lawmakers and even followers and supporters need to do to make sure that this peace, in quote, is sustained in Rivers State? That's the big question at the end. So we'll be taking some of your contributions now. 0817 923 0002. 0817 923 0003. You can also call 0817 923 0007. I'll see if I can take just one call at least before the break, because we have a commercial coming. And when we return from the commercial, we can take as many more as possible. 0817 923 0007. For those who do not have the numbers, you can take it down, or 0817 923 0003. Let's go to Yenegua. Gift is waiting. Hello, Gift. Good morning.
Good morning, Ifiemi Andrew.
All right.
It is a welcome development that today we are on the same page talking about where we are coming from. As far as I'm concerned, that yesterday the people when they have every right to go to that place. The ones that did not show up, they have the right not to show up. But one thing is sure, just like the minister, I watched him yesterday, telling anyone who cares to listen that there is peace now in Rivers State, and what will be coming out from Rivers State henceforth, it is about progress and development and peace. These rivers of blood and all the rest, trying to paint this state, drag this state backward. And when I listen to some of the persons who went there, using some kind of language, this is the reason why we said is the leader of the state. It's like you don't even know who you are following. The man who you call your principal is telling you that this one is my leader. And you're the one now trying to continue with your bad character of yesterday. Why must you even come up with that type of interview about who is leader and who is not leader? These were the things that were causing problems, and the man has told you that don't go and speak on behalf of me. Stop it. And you don't want to change. Thank God yesterday disappointed them one way or the other, even when they are on their rights to go and receive him. I think today, according to your news, from 8 upwards, it will be coming in. I know that the FCT minister knows about the movement and everything about this governor, because the governor communicates with him 24/7. You don't even know what is going on. You are not even part of it. Listening to the interview yesterday, elections, it was in the know. Everything they have agreed. Whatever.
All right, Gift. Unfortunately, thank you. We have to go for a commercial. When we come back, we'll take more of your calls. And importantly, the Assembly also said they would look into the spendings during the emergency rule, which is one that a lot of people have been calling for. We'll find out more after the break.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, the conversation continues. My name is Ifiemi Andrew. Let's get back into it. 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0002, and 0817-923-0003. I told us it's 24 hours now since the emergency rule was lifted. Several things have happened. Well, yet to see the governor. Well, if you listen to the FCT minister yesterday, very much on point when he said what he said about there's no place that said the governor must come or must be here now. I'm pretty sure he has things lined up for him. Although many expect that with the excitement and the urgency of work that needs to be done, the governor should be in the office by this time. He should be in the government house. He should be hands-on because of how much decay we have already in the past 6 months and the much that we need to do to speed things up. We already have the lawmakers yesterday, and three very important things that were mentioned, and some of them questioned by people already. The list for commissioners that they've asked the governor to submit, looking into the finances in the past 6 months. That has been a call that many have been asking for. We need to know what was spent. Now, whether whatever the findings would be made very public, or people that we don't know, at least let's commend them for first even coming. I think it's very commendable for coming and then first looking at the need to do this, because it would have been shocking if everybody came and nobody talked about this. Whether it's a facade or not, that's not the concern now. At least it was raised. Then also very important, the budget. And that was another one that has also raised questions, because we know what happened with the budget under the administrator and how there were hopes that the governor was going to come after that budget was signed. And now that budget has been approved and all by the assembly after a lot of work was put into it by the administrator. But then members of the House, led by the Speaker, felt it was necessary to also still ask the governor if he would want to work with that budget or present another one. Well, you might describe it as an academic exercise or just following every due process. So you don't say that the assembly did not do their work or did not ask. There are many ways you want to look at it. So for now, and then those that were waiting for the governor yesterday, which led us to the ultimate question: what does the governor, the lawmakers, and importantly, the supporters need to do to sustain the peace in Rivers State? 0817, or reconciliation, if you want to call it, or agreement, whatever it is. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0002. You can also call 0817-923-0003 or 0817-923-0007. If genuine people return to state, I think both supporters of the warring factions should be carried along. Which led people to question. They have said the four assembly lawmakers that were with the governor at that time, what's happening with them? Were they at plenary yesterday? Have they been brought back? Question. There's also questions around some of the laws amended by the assembly at the time. Are they going to now re-amend those laws or repeal those laws? Because some of them were questioned when you put them against the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And that was also conversations that were held at the time. Well, again, they are just coming. So maybe in time, these things will be looked into. But these are important questions that need to be asked. Because some of those laws at the time were seen as a way to twist the governor, at least in the court of public opinion. That was the view of it. Honorable White sent in that message. This one says, good morning. The governor seemed to be in a dilemma. I think he doesn't like the agreement he reached in the name of peace, but can't afford not to keep to it. His refusal to show up yesterday, despite being aware of the mammoth crowd of genuine supporters waiting to welcome him, and also decided to send a representative to address the crowd, shows betrayal. I don't see how that shows betrayal. I don't see how that shows betrayal. He is the governor. You don't know what he's doing. You only know what you are doing. You don't know what he's doing, and you don't think because you are standing there he must leave whatever he's doing and come to you. It doesn't work that way. Yes, when he eventually speaks, he would acknowledge that people waited for him at so time, and perhaps he would definitely apologize because of the. If you want to judge by the kind of personality he has, he would definitely acknowledge that people waited. But you don't think that he would have to then come because you are standing there. You don't know what other engagement he has or what other things he is doing. So to describe it as betrayal it was a post I saw on X. Somebody say abandoned. I'm like, what's abandoned in this? I don't think we should be reading too much meaning into it, honestly. Fine Mind, that was from you. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007 are the numbers to call to join the conversation. Still on WhatsApp. If you want to send a WhatsApp message, the number is 0809-030-6416. This one says, greetings. Those asking for the whereabouts of the governor, they have a right to ask. Of course they do. But let's not forget that if you are moving to a new apartment, you need to do total cleanup before moving into the apartment. Thank God ability at Egbu. Now, we don't even know who are the aides of the governor. Is he going to work with the aides he had before? Because who are we going to meet now to give us a statement? Or to put out a statement at least to inform the people and let people know what's happening? These handlers should say something, do something. This is the office of the governor and it's very important. So yes, it's okay for people to question because they voted for this person, he's representing them. Let's not also play down on the fact that people can ask questions. People should just wait. No, people have a right to also ask questions regardless. His handlers should do better with trying to, put out a statement, let people know something that's happening, say something. It's reckless to make mention of budget because National Assembly has done that. Okay, so budget can only be mentioned by the governor, and that's if there's need for supplementary budget. Lastly, the state of emergency has come to an end, so also are all appointments that was made. Why did Iba swear in head of service yesterday morning? The governor should come and tell us something. Ogo General Justice. I think the writings on the wall and the actions we've seen so far tells a lot, except you are refusing to look at it. But it already clearly explains a lot and it tells a lot. I don't know what's happening with our phone lines. We're trying to get to that because I don't know what's with the really bad. I'm pretty sure they're working on it. Good morning. Supporters will not relent in supporting our governor. He only needs to be transparent with whatever is on ground moving forward. It beams. What you said is great, but as a leader, they can't tell you everything. That's the truth. There are some things that he will not tell you. You would never know. You wouldn't know. It might affect your actions, but that's what it is. When you get into that kind of a position, you would also realize that there are certain information that you can't give because your supporters might not have the level of maturity and understanding that you have to handle it, and it becomes a problem. That's why among the supporters, there are supporters. Even among those supporters, there are the supporters. So everybody at different level get access to different level of information, and it's just what it is about leadership. This one says, Andrew, good morning. Some of the things you listed out as controversial does no longer apply. Former lawmakers of the governor's supporters will come back. All things are passed away. Bygone is bygone. But I don't know if they were seated at plenary yesterday. That's my question. And then the plenary, okay, if they were not seated because maybe they were still serving suspension that at the time was meted out, then let's imagine that that's why they were not there. But during the sitting yesterday, did they mention lifting the suspension and calling those people back, asking them to, return to the house, appear before the house? Did any of that happen? I'm asking. I don't know. If anyone raised controversial issues like the budget, government spending, etc., it will plunge the state further into anarchy. And America should recognize and put out such controversy. Even if the FCT minister will make the state ungovernable, people should stand up to it. Rivers people can't go through further suffering again. Pastor Alaso Wokoma. I understand your concern about the mentioning of the budget because there was a lot that happened with budget under the administrator. So why mention it? Unless maybe it's just, protocol. Anyone who is sincere to himself knows that what we call peace, as far as Governor Fubra's predecessor is concerned, is just cosmetic peace. There are still underlying grievances and lack of trust from both sides. Time will tell. John from Port Harcourt, that is from you. 0817 923 0007, 0817 923 0002. I don't know what's up with the phone lines, but guys, if you can hear me, Ashley, I don't know if you're out there. I don't know what's happening with the phone lines. Someone please check it out and let's know what's happening. Andrew, if the peace is genuine, what stops the assembly from calling back Okojombo and others? They did not even talk anything about it yesterday. This peace is not genuine. If I'm Chukwuwodo, or is it part of the agreement that was entered or reached yesterday? I think Sean was trying to get the FCT minister to highlight what the agreement was. The FCT minister was also smart enough not to want to fall into that trap and say anything. Instead, telling him, mention what you know, and then I will tell you which one is correct or which one is not. Okay, so it's just the secrecy that, surrounds everything that's happened in the past 6 months. Is it too early for lawmakers to tell the governor some names? Is it too early for commissioners for screening and confirmation? Thank God I believe to Igbo. If there's anything, remember I've always so said during that 6 months, it is possible that these guys have been having conversations in the background, having meetings in those times, putting out names of who should be who and who should be what. Otherwise, if they don't have that, you might want to say it's too early to say that. You might also want to look at it as, what if they know something and they are just doing this activity for us, but they know something? So there are both ways you might want to make the argument. However, we know that one thing is certain: the state needs to move and needs to move quick. We've lost so much in the past 6 months. Government needs to function fully. Everyone needs to be on top gear. Good morning, Andrew. Ida from Nkora says, I want to call on Martin Ameule to please bring peace into the house, because yesterday sitting, the people that support the governor were not there. People like Honorable Adolphus Timothy, Honorable Goodboy Sokari, and Honorable Okojombo. So what peace are we talking about? Martin should please put the house together. The WhatsApp number again, 0809-030-6416. That's the WhatsApp number. Martins and his group aren't ready for peace. From the very first day of sitting after emergency rule, people have started giving orders. What about the pro-Fubara lawmakers? Or is it a winner-take-all? This so-called peace will never stand the test of time. Michael Sunday, you sent that one in. Okay, we have our lines back up. Unfortunately, we're already out of time, so I'll just do two if I can. Cookie Gam in Rumolumeni, good morning.
Andrew, good morning.
Good morning.
Andrew, majority has got the River State politics now because of men lacking integrity in River State. That's what our problem. Islamic, let me just take an example today. I don't know if I'm calling you, in my place. I want to call it from Popo. That's what does integrity matters in River State politics. Andrew, I listened to the speaker yesterday, Matamaule. This is the governor yesterday to both of them. I listened to them. Andrew, I believe that River State is bigger than all of us in River State. If Christ does not come today, all of us will die. River State will still existing. Yeah, more of us should bear mind down again too. Everybody that say I remember what happened to Lucifer in the Bible. I will exalt myself. Don't everyone should talk about God, not I. You talk about I. Someday you will go before the war ends. Andrew, good morning.
All right, Cookie Gap, good morning. We'll just take more messages on WhatsApp. We're already out of time, so unfortunately, sorry, we can't accommodate the calls. We have a commercial coming up shortly. This one says, the choice of words by the speaker yesterday and absence of Fubara loyalists in the sitting clearly tells us that no peace yet. Ogo Jene Justice, that one is from you. On Facebook, it is at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. I'll take some of your comments there. Thank God ability to say, is it too early for lawmakers to tell the governors? Is it not too early? Is that what you mean? For screening and confirmation? I think I was responding to that earlier. They might know what we don't know. That's number one. Number two, it's very possible that these guys have been having meetings and conversations behind closed doors. On Facebook, Godwin Agwanwo says, concerning this matter, they should not support their leaders. because of interest, but for the progress and development of River State. Godwin from Malakaya. Godwin, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but, well, this one you said now. Okuru says, Iriso Ferrari, Okuru, what the warring parties would do is to see how the interests of the common Rivers person gets better, how they come out of poverty now, and not by right of way. I don't know what that means. Ferdinand Wodo says, I expect the assembly to start by asking Okojumbo and the other men to come back to the assembly, not what they did yesterday, if really this peace is genuine. Another message here says, an independent governor would have addressed the supporters firstly after resuming, but it's unfortunate that it did not happen that way. Independent governor. Let me put it in perspective so we understand. Everybody wanted or hoped or expected the president to do a broadcast to announce the lifting of the emergency rule, right? Did the president do it? Would you say that it was somebody that ordered him not to do it? Because there's nothing that forces him to say you must or you mustn't. That's a fact. And that fact is understandable. From a moral standpoint, okay, we expected him to, because it would speak better to the conscience of people, the minds of people, and it says a lot from a moral standpoint. Similar with what's happening with the governor. Yes, you expected him to come and talk to you. Who says he will not talk to you today or talk to you tomorrow? My name is Ifiemi Andrew. We'll take a commercial. Hello Port Harcourt comes in afterwards. Good morning.